Okay, 5.1%. Okay, find the percent of each figure shaded. Okay, I can just tell you this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, and then 10 by 10. So you find the number of squares. 10 times 10 is 100. Okay, so 100's on bottom. You're going to start with a fraction. Now what do we have shaded? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. Now if it's over 100, that is your percent, 44%. What if it's not over 100? Okay, well, let's go ahead and see. Okay, so this one here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there are 12 total squares. So out of 12, how many are shaded? That's 3, okay? Here's how you make a fraction to a percent. First you divide to convert it into a decimal. So 3 divided by 12 is 0.25. And to make that into a percentage, you trace the decimal twice to the right, and it's 25%. Okay, express as a percent. Okay, so again, now you got a decimal, just like we did here. You're going to find a percent, you need to move it twice to the right. 1, 2, 35%. Easy enough, okay? 1, 2, that'd be 4%. 1, 2, so that would be 0.8%. 1, 2, that'd be 207.6%. Yes, you will get percents above 100 here. Decimal percent. Now another decimal. 1, 2, so 0.02%. Okay, now a fraction to a percent. Well, first off, we're going to divide to make it a decimal, so most of you know that off the top of your head. 0.25, move the decimal twice, 25%. 3 over 20, so 0.15, 15%. So fraction, so again, decimal to percent, you move the decimal twice to the right, okay? Fraction to percent, you divide to make it a decimal, then move it twice. 17 divided by 32, so it's 0.53125, move the decimal twice, and it's 53.125%. Okay, now you're going to divide 59 by 100. But instead of putting everything as 0.59, it's going to be a 1.59. You just replace the 0 with 1 and then move it twice to the right. So that's 159% because you have one whole for the 100% and then 59. Okay, 5 divided by 8. Okay. Instead of 0, you're going to replace 0 with 14. Decimal twice to the right, and you end up with 1,462.5%. Okay, another percent. You're going to express it as a fraction. Now, if they don't have decimals with them, they're easy to do. Okay, but when they have decimals, as you're going to see with these bottom two, then the game changes, and this one here. So I'm going to do the ones without decimals first. So to make a percent of fraction, you line it up over 100. Okay, then you reduce it. It's 1/2. Okay, so 1/2. Let's do that one. 16 over 100. So again, to make a percent into a fraction, okay, you put it over 100 and reduce. And I have all that stuff up on the board here today. 4/25. Divided them both by 4. 190 over 100. That's going to be a mixed number because it's over 100%. 1 9/10, because it'd be 1 and 90 over 100, which reduces to 1 and 9/10 as a fraction. Okay. However, that is not going to work when there's a decimal. Okay, because see, if I put 62.5 over 100, yeah. Okay, here's what you need to do. First, you need to make your percent into a decimal. You're going to drop the percent, move it twice to the left. Okay. Then you're going to put 625 and then count the decimal places. So 10, 100, 1,000. Okay, so 625 over 1,000. So most of the time, if it's a full percent, you can just put it, but with a decimal, you move it backwards. Okay, and then make that a fraction. So 5/8. Okay, next one, 3.7. Again, you can't line that up 100 if it's a decimal, so you trace it, backtrack it 2. So 37, tens, hundreds, thousands. 37 over 1,000, that's already in simplest form since 37 is a prime number. 0.9%, so 1, 2. So we'd have 9, 10, 100, 1,000. So again, line them up over 100 and reduce them, okay, if they are whole percentages. But if there's a decimal in the percentage, you need to backtrack the decimal, okay. You're writing the percent as a decimal and so forth. Okay, now you're doing what you did last time. You're making the percent a decimal, okay. So decimal to percent, I was moving it twice forward, okay, on this first part. Now to get from a percent back to a decimal, you move it twice backwards. So I put a decimal, 1, 2, 0.82. 1, 2, 0.03. Put a 0 in front of the decimal. Okay. 1, 2, 0.2776. 224.9, just twice, not all the way to the end, okay? So it's going to be 2.249. Don't put the percent sign anymore. Once, twice, so 0.0473. Okay, now if they give you a fraction as a percent, first there has to be a decimal to move. So I know how to make a fraction a decimal. We just divide the top by the bottom, but the percent doesn't go away. After you have divided, you still need to backtrack it, okay? Now it's a very small decimal there. And yeah, because 3/4 is less than a whole percent, so I'm expecting a small decimal. Okay, 3 divided by 8. Instead of 0.375 though, it's going to be 2.375. And then to get rid of it, make it, you still got to backtrack it though, once, twice. 0.02375. Okay. All right, 53 3/5 of a percent. So 3 divided by 5, but we replace the 0 with 43, so it's 43.6. And backtrack it twice, okay? So 0.436. Okay, so to make a long story short, okay, decimal to percent, you move 2 forward. Okay, that was the first thing we looked at here. Many of you already know this. Okay, fraction to decimal, or fraction to percent. Fraction to percent. Fraction to percent. 2. You divide, then move 2 forward. Okay. And percent to fraction. If it is a whole percent, you place over 100 and reduce. if there is a decimal in the percent, okay, like that 62.5, okay, like here, decimal in the percent, you need to move 2 backward and then count place value. So like moved it backwards, tenths, hundreds, thousandths, and then reduce it. Okay, and the last one, percent to decimal, you move 2 backward. Okay. If there's a fraction in the percent, fractions must be divided before moving 2 backward. Don't just divide it and leave it, you gotta still move it 2, okay? So decimal to percent, 2 forward, okay? Fraction to percent, okay? You divide, move it 2 forward, you divide it so it's a decimal, okay? Then move it 2 forward. Percent to fraction, if it's a whole percent, you place it over 100, reduce. If it's a decimal percent, okay? If there's a decimal within the percent, you have to trace it 2 backward. Count the place values, like tenths, hundreds, thousandths, 10,000s maybe. Place it over that and reduce it. Okay. Percent to decimal, move 2 backwards. Fractions must be divided before moving 2 backwards. Okay, I think I covered that. Now we're going to solve these problems here using proportions. What percent of 8 is 4? Some of you know the answer to that right away. Okay, I'm going to make a proportion. Percent lines up with 100%. That's the rate, and this is the actual. So I'm finding the percent. So x, and it's is over of. Is of. So after of, it says 8, and then is 4. So cross multiply and divide 50%. Okay. What percent of 70.93 is 84.37? Now you got to be careful. You can't just divide them all the time. So percent, 100% is over of. So what percent? So x, after of we have 70.93, and then 84.37 is. You're going to end up with a percent higher than 100, okay? Because the number you're taking the percent of, okay, is smaller than what you end up with, what pops out. So that's 119, round to the nearest whole percent. Okay, what percent of 1.25 is 0.5? So percent I don't have is of. So after of we got 1.25, 0.5. This percent will be under 100. Forty percent. What percent of 7/8 is 3/8? Okay. Could just drop the 8s, but I won't. Percent is what you're finding. After of, we're taking it off 7/8, 3/8. You could just drop the 8s again. 100 times 3/8 divided by 7/8. 4 2/7%. Okay. No, don't drop the 8s. I kind of like that. Okay. Better not wacky decimal. Because a fraction's exact. Now, this time I have the percent. Okay, the percent is not what I'm finding. 10%. Then is of. So we're finding what we're taking the percent of, because it says what number, and then 15. So I'm finding what I'm taking the percent out of, okay, to get 15. 150. Don't label a percent on that, okay. Okay, 13.6 is 8% of what number? So 8, we did this in Algebra 1. This is Algebra 1 stuff. After of, it says what number, so x, and then 13.6 is the is. So 100 times 13.6 divided by 8, 170. Again, 8% is not a very high percent, so the total is pretty big. Okay, 7/8 is 175% of what number? So we got 175% now, then is and of. After of, it says what number, so x, then is 7/8. So I take 100 times 7/8, then divide that by 175. I got 1/2, okay? So x equals 1/2. 7/8 is bigger than 1/2, but 175% means the is will be bigger than the of. $190.75 is 70.5% of what number? Is and of. Okay. So after you're finding the of, and 190.75 is your is. Okay, it's going to be a number bigger than 190.75 because 70.5 is smaller than 100. Okay, 200, just put 271. Okay, you can round it. I don't care how it's rounded. They might tell you in the directions, so do it that way. 20% of 80, okay, you're finding 20% of 80. Okay, we got the percent. We also have the of, it's 80. Cross multiply and divide. 20 times 80 divided by 100. 16. 39% of 18.3. So I got my percent, 39, 100%. Then is of. After of, we got 18.3. This is going to be smaller than 18.3 because 39 is smaller than 100. Okay, 7.137. Okay, find 7/8 of a percent of 160. You're going to be very small. Okay, I have my percent at 7/8. Then is over of. So 160, and then don't know. So 7/8 times 160 divided by 100. 1 2/5. Knew it was going to be small. Because that's not even full 1%. 7/8 is less than 1%. Okay, sometimes they give you decimals. That's okay. So 0.03% then is of. So 424.6. 12.738. Okay, and 15 1/4% of 35 1/4. Since we have the pattern, it's pretty much a slam dunk every time. Okay, so of 35 1/4 should be smaller than 35 1/4 because this is smaller than 100. This should be smaller than 35 1/4. That's how a proportion works, a direct proportion anyway. Okay, that's what I'm going to go with, okay? Second PRB equals, nope, won't do it, so 5.38. Okay, that's all I have to say on that.